Nats fans have never been louder about firing the coaching staff. And let me just tell you this, will it actually make a difference? We don't know.
You are Locked On Nationals, your daily Washington Nationals podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And thank you all for making Locked On Nationals your first listen every single day, as we are free and available wherever you get your podcasts. And of course, I am your host, Ryan Clary. You can catch me over on Twitter at RyanClary11 and as well as our show page at LO_Nationals. For all your latest Nationals news and notes, make sure to check us out over on Twitter. And of course, look up Locked On Nationals wherever you get your podcast, whether it's on Apple, Spotify, and of course, the video version over on YouTube. Again, just look up Locked On Nationals. And later on in the show today, we have got a series preview with the Marlins coming to town. The Washington Nationals, you got to start racking up some wins, going up against one of the worst teams in all of baseball. And then you have the Rockies at home again. This is the time this is going to tell us which team you are. Are you a good team, or are we a bottom dweller of Major League Baseball? In the second segment, it is a Nats prospect stock report. Whose stock is up and whose stock is down? We'll have that discussion for you because there have been some incredible performances, including some guys who should be up in the majors right now. Speaking of up in the majors, though, the Washington Nationals, this fan base, it's split. I think we all know that at this point. And it's really split between what is going to happen with this coaching staff, and really the conversation surrounding it is, will this coaching staff make a difference moving forward? And should the Washington Nationals move off of Davey Martinez? Should they move off of Darnell Coles, the Nationals hitting coach? Should they move off of Jim Hickey, the Nationals pitching coach? Would any of that make a difference? It would not. I'll tell you why. But today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. And of course, right now, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. Again, that is FanDuel.com. Nationals fans right now are pissed. They just are. And it's not even a debate at this point. The Washington Nationals, and really the fans overall, and I include myself in this situation here, after losing 5 straight games, the Nationals are 30-38 on the season now. They are still third in the NL East right now, the Braves being a half game back. Fans want this staff gone. You want Davey Martinez gone. You want Darnell Coles gone. You want Jim Hickey gone. Let's start off with probably the loudest member of this, and this has been discussed for years now at this point. The hitting coach, Darnell Coles. The fact of the matter is this. A hitting coach in baseball, they make a difference, but not that big of a difference. It's not the same kind of parallel as it is for an offensive coordinator in the NFL. An offensive coordinator, they call the plays. They determine which packages are out there. They determine which players run this specific route. But in Darnell Cole's situation, he is the hitting coach. He is the guy that you kind of lean on throughout a game or in the offseason or whatever it is to kind of go for when you have mechanical issues, or if you're in a slump, you have him go over the film and you kind of say, what should I do different? Should I do anything different? Or am I just having a bad time here? Hitting coaches don't really control that much. They don't. And while it's easy to say that the Nationals need to make a change, they do. The Nationals do need to make a change. But if they were to move off of Darnell Coles, the way that the Rockies just did a few weeks back, moving off their hitting coach, they're still the worst team in baseball. Nothing is going to change. It might change the dynamic of a clubhouse a little bit. It might get guys a little bit of juice that they need because, again, it's kind of a symbol when you move off of a coach. It kind of puts things in perspective for a lot of players in a lot of different sports. They take it personal. These are people that they spend in the clubhouse every single day with. They have tight relationships with Darnell Coles. And as far as I know, Darnell Coles is very tight with all the players here. But he is not going to change a single thing if the Nationals move off of him during the season, especially. Now, in the offseason, sure, it's time. We all understand that. But right now, what does that do for us? This is just not that good of a team. This is they do have talent on this team right now, and I think we all understand that, and they should be better than what they are. And Davey Martinez has told us that much. But firing Darnell Coles does nothing for the organization right now. Let's talk about Davey Martinez. Would firing Davey Martinez kind of send a jolt through the locker room? I think it could. Now, also with that said, I think it would be bad for where the Nationals are right now. Number one, whether you like it or not, Davey Martinez, he is a Washington Nationals legend. This guy represents the team. He represents the organization in a classy way that I think a lot of people in baseball respect the you-know-what out of Davey Martinez. And Davey should be better. The in-game decisions, they should be better. The lineup construction has to get better. But even then, if you were to move off of Davey Martinez, who steps in his place? Who? Jim Hickey? He's good. He's fine. Pitchers are okay this year. But even then, it's not because of Jim Hickey being the pitching coach, although I do think pitching coaches have more hands-on activities during a game rather than a hitting coach. But having Jim Hickey or Gerardo Parra or Sean Doolittle take over as a manager, that's not going to prove anything to this team. With where we are right now, the Nationals just have to stay put. They are going to have to ride this thing out for the rest of the season, and the record at the end of the year, that's going to indicate whether the Nationals should move off of Davey Martinez and Darnell Coles and Jim Hickey. This is a broken team right now. They are in one of the worst slumps offensively of this season, and if you look at what they have been doing, they've been doing nothing, and that's the frustration of this moment in time. But for you to call for Darnell Coles to be fired and to think that would make that big of a difference, I think it's a little silly. And yeah, the fan base, you guys and we all want to see head rolls. We are not happy. We feel kind of betrayed at this point. Mike Rizzo, Davey Martinez, they told us all offseason long, we are ready to win. Over the weekend, Davey kind of alluded to lineup changes, saying, if guys don't produce, you're going to see some changes. These are all things that you would say if you're a winning ball club. And the Nationals are not right now. They are 30-38. They have lost 5 straight games. They have a negative 58 run differential, which is one of the worst in all of National League at this point. The Miami Marlins, who are coming to town tonight, they have a minus 93 run differential at this point. The Rockies have a negative 201 run differential. They're coming to town on Monday. Things need to change. We can agree on that. But coaching staff moves in the middle of the season, that's not going to cut it for me. It's not going to change all that much from this team. The talent is still the talent. We have a good team. We have got some talent. But still, we also have holes. Second baseman Luis Garcia has not been producing that much. Keibert Ruiz, we discussed it. Him and Riley Adams are the worst tandem in all of baseball behind home plate. Seriously, they both combined for a negative WAR at this point, one of the only ones in the National League. We've got holes. We've got flaws. Coaching staff, it may be one of them. But firing these guys in the middle of the season, when you really, let's be honest, don't have that many expectations, does not thread the needle for me. And it really probably shouldn't for anyone. I don't think Davey Martinez and Mike Rizzo are thinking to themselves, we got to make a change. If anything, it's probably going to be a change within this roster. Maybe you trade a guy at the deadline. That kind of surprises a lot of people, whether it's Luis Garcia, Maybe you move off Keibert Ruiz and you bench him and bring Drew Millis up and have him catch every single day. But even then, I don't know if that's a better situation to have with Drew Millis starting as catcher. We've got flaws. But right now, moving off the coaching staff doesn't do too much for me. So yeah, I get the conversation. I understand why people are frustrated, but still, that's not the move that the Nationals should make. It simply does not make that much sense to me. It just does not. So thank you all for making Locked On Nats your first listen every single day, as we are free and available wherever you get your podcast. Next, let's get into a Nats prospect stock report. There have been a ton of impressive performances down in the minors. We'll have that discussion for you after we tell you guys about our friends over at Trade Coffee. And of course, let's be real. Coffee is not just a drink. It's a ritual, a lifeline, a thing that gets you from half asleep to fully functioning. And it's that essential. Why settle for anything less than amazing? That's where Trade Coffee comes in. And Trade is the number one coffee destination in the U.S., delivering fresh, incredible coffee from over 50 of the country's top roasters. Whether you're a cold brew fan or a pour-over purist, they've got a roast that you'll love. And I took Trade's quiz, and it only took me 1 minute, and they sent me a delicious French roast, which I have right here. Let me take a sip. And of course, I love Trade Coffee because the coffee was fresh. It smelled amazing, and it was my favorite dark roast that I have had yet in the market. And I love that their prices are comparable to grocery store brands. The flavor is always on point. And right now, Trade is exclusively offering our customer 50% off your 1 month trial at drinktrade.com/lockedonmlb. That's TRADE.com/lockedonmlb for 50% off your 1 month trial. That's drinktrade.com/lockedonmlb. Thank you all for making Locked On Nationals your first listen every single day, as we are free and available wherever you get your podcast. So we have to get into a stock up and a stock down, a Nats prospect stock report. Who has been up and who has been down? This is your latest individual performances for your top Nationals prospects. And we start off with Brady House. Stock up. Third baseman. Get him up in the majors right now. Not even a joke anymore. I don't understand why the Nationals are not calling him up like today. Genuinely. Like, he should be up in the majors. And at this point, I'm starting to get impatient. We have Bruce the Bat Dog making an appearance before we have Brady House. Brady House, over his last 12 games, is batting .380, a .426 OBP, a .680 slug, an .1106 OPS with 4 home runs, 11 RBIs, 3 doubles, 19 hits, and only 13 strikeouts in his last 12 games. Now, again, I guess 13 strikeouts, not only 13 strikeouts, it's a fair amount of Ks there, but still, Brady House belongs in the majors. He is batting north of 300 on the season. He has an OPS right near 900 at this point. He's on pace for mid-30s home runs in AAA. The kid is ready. We got to stop playing this game. You have to have him up in the majors. And by the way, you have a hole right now. You need a right-handed power bat. Brady House is that. We don't need to talk about trading for someone at the deadline. We don't need to talk about the Nationals going out there and claiming someone off of waivers, which, by the way, I don't know if the Nationals are going to be calling up Brady House anytime soon because they just filled up their last 40-man roster spot. You would have to move off of someone on that 40-man, and honestly, it's getting pretty crammed at this point. I don't know who you're going to move off of to have Brady House in that spot there. But right now, with where the Nationals are, get the kid up to the majors. He is red hot. Build off this momentum. And maybe you start pulling off some games because this is a real need that you have, which is a right-handed power bat. And you have a solution sitting down there in AAA and who is going to play a plus defensive third base. He's going to be a plus power bat. He's putting the ball in the play at a pretty elite rate, and he is crushing the baseball to all sides of the field. Nationals, Davey, Mike Rizzo, we got to make this move right now. You need to save kind of your face at this point. Take some heat off this team. You got the Marlins coming in town tonight, and then you have the Rockies on Monday. What are we doing? Because after that, you're in LA, you face off against the Dodgers for another West Coast swing, and let's be real, you don't want him to debut against the Dodgers. So why not now against a really bad team with the Marlins, and then the worst team possibly we have ever seen with the Colorado Rockies? Make the move. The kid is ready. Let's do it right now. Stock down for Yohandy Morales. His first 16 games in AAA have not been good. In AA last year, he was awesome. In AA to begin this year, incredible. But right now, and really actually his first few games in AAA also, he was on a heater. But ever since then, he has been on a downhill stretch, and it's just about getting used to pitching. He's batting 177, a 261 OBP, a 258 slug, and a 519 OPS in his first 16 games. He had 33 strikeouts in 33 games in AA. He has got 25 strikeouts in his first 16 games in AAA. That's kind of what tells the story here, because Yo-Yo is not necessarily a strikeout guy. The swing and miss wasn't really there in his game, but you could tell that it's taking some time to adjust to AAA pitching. I'm not worried about the long story here with Yo-Yo Morales. I think this guy is really good. I think he's got the potential to be a very good major leaguer, whether it be at first base or DH or at third base down the road. This guy has got a lot of potential offensively. And so at this point in time, I'm not worried about these struggles. This is going to happen. When the Nationals took him in the second round 2 years ago, this was a great slam dunk pick. A big power bat, right-handed power bat, someone who will be in the major league lineup, eventually starting over at first base, I believe at this point. Whether it's at DH, he's going to be in the lineup. And he's going to be a big plus. But right now, he's been on the struggle bus for AAA Rochester, and he's going to have to get things picked up, because you know how this team is. They want to see you hot before you get called up into the major league. So right now, stock down for Yo-Yo Morales. Stock up for Travis Sakura. I'm not even joking anymore. This is a top 3 pitching prospect in baseball. I think I kind of felt like that was determined last year after what we saw. But right now, it's just this guy should be in AA, and he should move him up into AAA by the end of the season. Yesterday, he went 5 innings pitched, 10 strikeouts, only 2 hits, and 0 earned runs. Check out his numbers on the season so far. 17 strikeouts per 9 innings, only 1.5 walks per 9 innings, in 8 starts this year, has 29 innings pitched, 55 strikeouts, 5 walks, a 0.93 ERA, a 0.483 whip. This is like an all-time pitching prospect for the Nationals at this point. We have not had someone this talented as a pitching prospect since Steven Strasburg. And the Nationals have had some pretty solid pitching prospects, whether you look back in the mid-2010s with Lucas Giolito and guys of that nature. This is one of those guys where you are going to talk about him. The Nats Park is going to be sold out for his debut probably early on next season, and he belongs. The Nationals should start flying this guy up through the system. It's not because we should just rush him, but he is ready for it. And I think he has proven that over this season. I think he's going to continue to prove that as we go on, because these numbers are incredible. I actually saw someone over at MLB.com compare him to Nolan Ryan. Guys, Nolan Ryan's a Hall of Famer, one of the best pitchers to ever live. I'm not saying he's going to be Nolan Ryan, but mechanically, he looks like it. And he has those mechanics there. It's a weird delivery. It's an old school thing where you feel like this guy is back from like the 1980s, yet he's throwing 100 miles per hour. He's pumping in strikes, and he is just a disgusting, filthy pitcher that the Nationals luckily landed in the second round 2 years ago, or the third round rather. And good God, he is incredible for the Washington Nationals. Stock down for Juan Yepez. Only 3 home runs at 152 at-bats. The 27-year-old is slumping in a big way. Let me just say this. He is on the Nationals 40-man roster at this point. The reason why I wanted to kind of highlight him was he's probably going to be the guy moved off of if Brady House were to come up. The Nationals would probably have to cut him loose off the 40-man roster. And let's be honest, you're not going to be calling Juan Yepez up. This time last year, I was kind of excited for Juan Yepez. He was hitting the you-know-what out of the baseball in AAA, and he had a long track record of success with the Cardinals, whether it be in playoff baseball, down in AAA. The guy can hit, but he's not doing it right now. And we saw it last year. The ceiling is pretty limited. Like, yeah, he can kind of luck into a ball where he hits 420 feet, but at this point in time, if you're going to be holding back someone like Brady House, you got to cut back. You got to kind of cut bait here. And unfortunately for him, the results are not there either. Again, only 3 home runs this season. If he was hitting the you-know-what out of the baseball, he would have been called up much earlier, and Josh Bell may have been moved off of. But that has not been the case. He has not been applying any pressure to anyone up in the major leagues, and he's just been getting demoted down in AAA. He's getting down in the lineup. He's batting 6th and 7th at this point. It has not been a good go for it for Juan Yepez so far, so he gets a stock down. Not really a prospect anymore, but still down in AAA Rochester. Stock up. Welcome to minor league baseball, Sam Peterson, the 2024 8th-round pick out of Iowa. So far, he is batting .385, a .467 OBP, a .577 slug, and a .1044 OPS at high A. In just 7 games, again, he has stolen 3 bases. He's walked 4 times, struck out 5 times. He has been a very productive player, even last year in low A Fredericksburg, helping them win a Carolina League championship. The 8th-round pick out of Iowa, maybe he's just adjusting to the minors in a pretty easy way. He's going to come crashing back down to earth. I don't expect him to bat .385 with a .577 slug. I don't think you should expect that. Although I will say this, the power and the speed combination, that is intriguing. He's not necessarily on any of our radars at this point in time, but I will say this, Jacob Young, he was a 7th-round pick out of Florida. The Nationals developed him really well, flew him up through the minors last season, or actually 2 years ago. And the Nationals, he was a Gold Glove candidate last year, and he probably should have won it as one of the best defensive center fielders in baseball. This is not foreign to the Nationals. They can do something like this, and they have proven to do that with later-round college bats, guys who play really well in center field. And I think Sam Peterson might fit that profile, except even maybe a tad higher of a ceiling. I'm not saying he's going to be Jacob Young 2.0. I haven't seen the kid too much. But I will say this, he is putting up some big numbers in high A, and he's kind of one of those guys I would not be surprised to see the Nationals fly through the system. He's 22 years old. He's a very mature player. He's got the tools to really be a good prospect in today's game. So he's a name to watch moving forward because he's been hitting the you-know-what out of the baseball so far. Thank you all for making Locked On Nats your first listen every single day. Next, let's preview this Marlins series. And while we're saying the Nationals, you better win this series, I will say you're going up against 2 very good pitchers against the Miami Marlins, and it's a little scary with the way that this offense has been. But fortunately enough, they are right-handed pitchers for this team and the way that we stack this thing. So maybe we get some luck in tonight's game. But before we jump into that, got to tell you guys about our friends over at FanDuel. And the NBA playoffs are in full swing, and every night delivers highlight-worthy performances and major momentum shifts and can't-miss moments, whether it's a game-winning shot or a breakout player. And there's never been a better time to get on the action than right now. And FanDuel makes it easy to stay in the game. Like, for instance, I've already put in my bets for Tyrese Halliburton tonight to go over on the points and Pascal Siakam. And, of course, I'm going to parlay that with a Pacers win. I think they go up 3-1 against the Oklahoma City Thunder. And, of course, it makes it more fun to watch. And that's what it's all about, because you're just watching the game why not make some money? And they show you all the latest trends, and you can combine live prop bets in game based on how the action unfolds, and that makes it even more fun. So are you new to FanDuel? Well, it's a perfect time to sign up and head to FanDuel.com and place your first $5 bet. And if it wins, you'll get $200 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Thank you all for making Locked On Nats your first listen every single day, as we are free and available wherever you get your podcast. So the Nationals, they get going with the Miami Marlins tonight, a weekend series. And yes, you have got Mitchell Parker on the bump for your Washington Nationals going up against Edward Cabrera. The 27-year-old Edward Cabrera, he has been a really solid pitcher over the years for the Marlins. Back in 2022 and 14 starts, had a 3 ERA and 71 2/3 innings pitch, only allowed 44 hits in that season. This year, it's been a little bit up and down, to say the least. In 10 starts, he's got a 3.99 ERA, but right now, he is coming off a relatively decent start, but even then, he is coming off a really good stretch over the last month or so. Prior to this last start, he had a start against the San Francisco Giants where he, in 5 2/3, shutout baseball. Against the Angels before that, 3 hits allowed in 5 2/3 inning, shutout baseball. He has yet to allow a home run since May 19th. That's nearly a month over his last 3 starts. He is kind of clicked here for the Miami Marlins, and this guy is very talented with a nice pitch mix. This is not going to be an easy matchup. And of course, Mitchell Parker is on the bump for the Nats tonight. We know about the stretch with him here. It has not been an easy go of it. And if you kind of look at his first inning numbers, if he makes it out of the first inning, then yeah, I'm going to feel relatively decent about Mitchell Parker. But right now, Mitchell Parker, it's been a tough go for it. While this last time out, he did kind of finally settle down a little bit against the Rangers. But even then before that, there was 3 runs given up, 4 runs, 3, 4, 4, 5. Like, it has not been a good stretch for Mitchell Parker. So hopefully he's finding a groove here. And then tomorrow you got Trevor Williams, where you're going to get 5 innings. He's going to give up 3 runs. That's that. Sunday's pitching match here for. You have got Mackenzie Gore going up against Yuri Perez. Yuri Perez is a name that you probably haven't heard of in quite some time. A former top 10 prospect in all of baseball, and he was going to be the truth. Let me tell you this. He missed all of last season with injury. He is coming back with flying colors. This guy is really, really good for the Marlins. And again, at 22 years old, he has made 1 start this season after missing all of last year. But in his rookie campaign, he had 91 1/3 innings pitched. And in that year also, 108 strikeouts, a 1.13 whip. He's not going to walk a lot of guys. He's going to strike out a ton of batters. And yeah, this guy is really good. Like, again, 22 years old, 6'8". He's going to throw gas. This is not going to be an easy pitching matchup for the Nationals. I'll tell you that much. Edward Cabrera and Yuri Perez, 2 really young, good pitchers. But fortunately for the Nationals, you've got Mackenzie Gore on Sunday. I expect you to win with Mackenzie Gore on the mound. He's going to give you 7 innings, and he might give up a run, but he's going to strike out 10 batters, and he's going to keep you in that game. You got to start racking up wins like now, because the Nationals, they're not going to come easy, and the Marlins, they're a scrappy team. And of course, in years past, we have seen them have our number, and let's hope to God that we can just kind of stay on this track of beating up on the Marlins, because the Nats need it right now, and you need some wins. You need to get back on this hot streak before you head out west and face the LA Dodgers. So thank you all for making Locked On Nats your first listen. I'll catch you guys on the flip side. Have a good one. Go Nats.